Hello, viewers. Welcome to Honesty Missions International Studios. My name is Emi Quadri. Today, I will be introducing to you a fantastic gospel music group known as Honesty Creed. But first, I will be bringing up the man behind the vision and the mission of the group, Honesty Creed. He is no other person than the president of Honesty Missions International. Is also the CEO of Honesty Music Entertainment, a record company that has been very instrumental to the rise of gospel music in Nigeria. No other person than Mr. Tony Umeh. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, sir. Beside him is the head of music and technical production, Mr. Sonny Sparks. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, sir, let's start with you. Please tell us about yourself and the vision and the mission of Honesty Creed.
My name is Mr. Tony Umeh, and it's a privilege for me to share with you the vision behind Honesty Creed. It started like 2 decades ago, over 2 decades ago, actually. And I was a businessman doing my business, selling spare parts in Idumota, Lagos. And the vision came in one of the days we were having a program in church called Thursday Showers. I love music, I love to dance. So I was there dancing and enjoying myself in the presence of God. And I found myself under the anointing of the Holy Spirit. And I heard a voice that said to me, Honesty Music. I didn't understand what it was all about. But I hearkened to that voice. And it became stronger and stronger in my spirit. Until a time that I have to quit the business that I was doing, which was doing very well. I have to quit that business. Because for me, it's a mission. It's not just a business, what God have called me to do. And I couldn't combine the two together. So I have to leave one. So I have to leave what I have learned and the business I was doing, which was doing very well, to answer the call when it has to do with music. I started from the streets. I sold whatever I have, and I started from the streets, from a Lugano Drive, actually, in Sulere. I got a place and I was selling Bible, music, and I started something very interesting that time called DJ for Christ. Wow. Reason was because when I go to some gospel event, I saw that most of the Christians are used to playing secular music in a Christian event. So I wasn't happy with that. So I felt like I can do something about that, knowing that I have access to so many music, and I love music, and I have so many music, I think that these people have not heard. So I was like, this is part of what it's all about. So I started what I called then DJ for Christ. I only play gospel music. But it wasn't working the way I thought about it. God sent someone to come into my studio one day, or to the shop that time. And the person told me about where I am, the position where I am, and where I'm doing this business is not right. And it's like God speaking to me through that man. I don't know him for the first time he entered the office. The office looked fantastic, very beautiful, and whatsoever. He said, what you are doing, you don't need to do it in that location. This kind of your business should be done in a bus stop, in a place that you are going to see people, hear what you are doing, hear you, and see what you are doing as they are passing on the road. So from there, I sold off whatever that I have at that time, and rented up the apartment and raised some money. So I moved to Agoda Sulere, Nepa bus stop precisely, a very known place in Sulere, Lagos, and was doing my DJ for Christ. People were coming, calling me for events. One thing I want to say here is that the Bible says, do not despise the days of humble beginning. A lot of people didn't like, especially those that knows me in the business side in Idumota, that know that I was doing very well. So for them to see me selling CDs, and I mean, leaving spare parts, come and do what I was doing. They can't understand it. Both my own family members, they could not understand it. So it's like everybody was just against what I was doing. So in the midst of that, I find a wife in that shop. And by God's grace, we were able to get married. So after my wedding, I didn't have much with me. And I didn't know how to be able to take care of my wife. And one of the challenges I was having then was, she agreed to marry me when I had nothing. And I didn't want her to go through what I was going through, And I was like, God, what do? I began to seek the face of God after the wedding. And one day I had Alaba International. But I don't have anybody in Alaba. I don't know what to go and do in Alaba. But I just had the voice, Alaba International. And I told my wife that I believe that God is sending me to Alaba International Market. She was shocked, because how do you go to a market? Who do you know in the market? What do you have in the market? Nothing. But I had faith, and I know I have God. So I told her that I'm not going to go to my shop at Nepa bus stop. I told her to go there. Whatever you meet in that place, you can sell it off, use the money. I don't need it. All I have in my life then was maybe 5,000 naira or 3,000 naira. That was what I have. Because after the wedding, I was owing house rent. So whatever I gathered from the wedding, I was able to pay half of the money. I was still owing the agent half of the money. And what I have in my pocket is between 3,000 to 5,000 naira. So I didn't know how to survive or where to go to. But one thing I know, that I know God. So I went to that God and began to pray, began to seek his face. And God said to me, go to Alaba International Market. How do I go to Alaba International Market? What do I do in Alaba International Market? But I had that voice, and I believe it strongly that God have called me and have sent me to Alaba International Market. So I went to the market the first day, doing nothing. I just walk around the market. I went there in the morning like somebody that have business in Alaba. So walk around the market. At the end, by evening when people are closing from the market, I closed and I came home. My wife was like, what happened? I said, I've gone to the market, I've obeyed God. Just went to the market, walk around, then I come back home. The next day I went, the same thing. I even met one of my relation in the market. I knew that he was in the market when I met him. He said, what am I coming to the market to do? I said, I'm coming to, this is what God is trying to tell me to do. He said, do you have a shop? I said, no. Do you have money? I said, no. How do you want to go about it? I said, I don't know.
Wow, wonderful.
I'm only obeying instructions. So he didn't understand what I was trying to say. So he's like, I don't understand what you are saying. So you're on your own. I said, it's okay. So I went to the market the first, second, the third day. I was walking and I met a young man that have met me before. I didn't even recognize him. So he just saw me inside the market and was like, I know you. From there, one thing led to the other. And he had an issue that he wanted to do in the market, or he wanted to do as a business. So I have the solution, which I sold to him, and he bought it. And from there, I produced something for him. From there, I started doing one or two things. To my greatest surprise, within 6 months to 1 year, I was counting millions of naira. I had 2 parking shops, and I have a shop that I was not doing my business. Relaxed, bought a Jeep. And things was working well for me at that period. But what I was doing was not actually the reason God sent me to the market.
To that market.
But I was making money. One thing that you must know about me is that if I'm sure that this is what God have asked me to do, nobody or situation can take me out of that. I was making money. I mean, the business that you have done for like a year and you have money, bought a Jeep, live in a good house, bought all the properties, help the church, do whatever I think I was doing fine. But God reminded me through someone. One day I was in the market and things were moving very well. So I met this man. So I was telling him what I was doing, and I'm a pastor. Anywhere I am, I'm preaching, I'm talking about God every time. And this is someone that's, all of us know that is not that interested when you have to do about things of God. So I was trying to, he knows that I talk about God always. So one day he came around and he was actually talking about the issue of piracy. So I was trying to let him know that's what piracy is all about. But the man told me, he said, you're a pirate. I said, me? He said, yes. I said, no. He said, but what are you doing? That is when it dawned on me that what I was doing, actually, that I was making this money, is also like piracy. So but to me, it has nothing to do with Nigerian music or anybody in Nigeria or whatsoever. I felt I was preaching the gospel. Because when I came into the market, I saw blue films everywhere. They can put it open, sell it openly. And it was disturbing to my spirit. So one of the things that I was doing then was to pick the gospel, the ministers of God that I know that they have the music. So it was like, they have the blue film. I have to introduce the gospel to them. So I introduced most of the foreign musicians and the preachers then, or the TDJs, Miles Moreau, every one of them, all the American, and American musicians, Kirk Franklin and all of them, CC Winers and all of them, Mary and all of them. So they didn't know about them anyway. So, but I bought it in the market, so it becomes a very big business, and people were buying them. But that day, that man confronted me. I said, even if these people are not Nigerians, what you are doing is piracy. So I wasn't comfortable to be associated with anything that is not legal. To me, I was like, I'm trying to bring the gospel to the world. I'm trying to bring the message to the world. Because through me then, people begin to buy the music, the preaching of TD Jakes and all this gospel music. They were everywhere. And I was making my money. But the man challenged me. And I said, I went home that day and I began to ask God, this thing this man said is disturbing to me. I know I'm preaching the God. I even went to my pastor, my friend, and we were pastor that time. We are all, working in the vineyard of God that period. I went to him and I told him about that. I said, look, I said, no, what you are doing is great. God is with you. What do you mean by piracy? This and that and that and that. You are bringing the gospel in a dark world, in this and that. I said, no, I don't think. That man mentioned the word piracy. And it is sin for me to be able to sell somebody product without the consent
of the owner
of the product. So I start getting worried. And suddenly I couldn't pray. I couldn't do things I know I have to do and everything. So it's like, no, I have to stop this. Stop this to do what? I went back to God. That's when God made it clear to me. I sent you to Alaba to promote Nigerian gospel.
Wow.
It was clear to me. I said, wow. How do I start? From where do I start from? And you know the way God is. And me, I've made up my mind to obey God and work according to the will and purpose of God. So I stopped producing any of those things. And I jumped into Nigerian music. I started promoting some of them. People were coming. I'm looking for gospel. How can you help me? They are going around in Alaba looking for sponsor, looking for someone. I remember one guy came from Aba then, and they brought this group. And I liked their music then, and I invested in the music. I spent millions of naira. I was spending this money on these upcoming artists that are coming from all over the place. Somebody will come to me, oh, I have this song, I love this song, I don't have money for video. I'll give them money to go and do their video.
Wow.
Because I have the money. And before you know it, I have nothing. So the pressure is to go back to what I was doing. I know very well that can give me the money. And people were coming. So I know what I can do to get money. But I have to stick to the plan of God. So I refused completely to get back to that. Even when the demand was coming. Now, you see, you don't have money. And you know what you can do to get money. But I can't do it just because of my love and what God have told me. So I stood on that which God have told me, I was there. Things become very rough. It came to a point I couldn't afford food to my family. But what I did was to stand in that which I believe that God have called me. Sometimes I will stay for a whole week. I will not say like 3,000 naira. I don't have money at all to do anything. But I know that something is going to happen. That was when I start, from there, God helping me, I don't know, but it was difficult. It was like 2-3 years of wilderness. But I just keep moving. That this that God have said must come to pass. So I got, before then, I spent a lot of millions, thrown away, invested in so many music, and one of the one I had that was like making sense then was Dekunle Fuji. When he sang the song, le 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 le, like Jesus go. I run around from here and there, get money from some friends, people that I know, and I invested money, and I believe that album is going to be everywhere. That album is going to sell like. So that was my intentions, and what I thought. Sometimes music can bust all your belief and your faith. Believe you me. And I know there are so many people out there who are doing music. You don't even understand yourself anymore. You have gone through a lot. You have recorded your album. You have gone to studio. You have done a lot of things, but yet nothing is working. I've been there, and I know what it's all about. The song was everywhere. The video was fantastic. I brought out the album. The first day I sold few, and before you know it, nobody was buying. But if you go to all the selection in Alaba, every selection in Alaba International Market has that song. And they're selling. But the album was not selling. I don't know what to do. I invested money. One of my friends invested 2 million. My own money, the people from that business, I became broke completely. Nothing to do. I don't know what else to do. But I never give up. I continued because I have this album with Kingsley Ike. The brother that sang rainy song then. Wamile, Wamile, Mumba. So he had another new album that time. Just like yesterday. That's the title of the album. So when he met with me and we discussed, he was like, I know that God will bring you. There is a mission that you have in this market, and God will bring you out. So I bought the album, struggling with the album. I have to go to studio with him, do a lot of things, and yet the album didn't. So I was like, what do I do? In that process, he recommended me to a particular church, that have a music intentions in Nigeria. And they called me and invited me that they have this artist and they want me to be marketing for them. And I did so. Love World Records. So they know that they have artists, but they don't know what to do with the artist. So they called me in a meeting. I was in a meeting with all the people in charge of Love World. So I told them that all I need is just get these things out. I will print them. I will bring it out. They bring a couple of artists to me then. They brought, Frank Edwards, Joe Praise, Ada, and Sinach was not part of at the beginning then. But later, they brought Sinach, and I try as much as possible to push this work. Initially, nobody was buying them. I supplied the music to the market people. They will return it back to me. One lady, I won't forget her story. I will take these jobs, Frank Edwards, and all these big names now. I will take it to her because her shop was like, if you come there in the morning, you see a lot of people coming, buying. So I went to her and I said, sister, please help me. Take these things. Don't pay me. Thus, when you sell, she told me, please stop bringing Akboaya to me. Akboaya means product that is unsellable. That's the Igbo translation of that, what she said. When she said that, it was like, wow, what do I do about this? But I went back to God. I didn't give up. I went back to God and we continued. And it was there. It came to a point whereby I know that this is spiritual. Because some people have told me that you don't just come into the market and they think you're going to bring out a product and it will sell just like that. So they were trying to maybe make me to come closer to them, maybe to go and follow them to their God and whatever they think that they were doing. But I went back to God that told me, and I started praying. It came to a day I knew that something had been broken in the realm of the spirit. And it didn't take time. Before you know it, that was how Frank Edward peaked in Port Harcourt first. People started buying his product from Port Harcourt, and they started selling, and a few of them were started moving a little by little, and then I would be in the market and I saw those guys that are doing secular music. Some of them, we produce 200,000 CDs and sell it in a day. It will finish in one day. And here am I with my own 3 months, 6 months. I've not gotten like 10,000. So how do I feed? Most people don't even believe that I am feeding from this thing that I'm doing. They believe that there's something else I'm doing. Maybe I'm into one scam or whatever. Why can somebody be like this, suffering? But I stood there, believing that God that have called me is able. And before you know it, the doors open. At a point in time, it came to a point in time where the relationship with the Love World people and myself, at a point in time, we couldn't continue. And but how do I do these things? How do I get these things done? And before you know it, Frank Edward have a new album then, and titled Unlimited, that have verse 1 and verse 2. In one of the, we first of all brought it out like a double CD, but the market people did not accept that, so I have to separate it, verse 1, verse 2. Buying the product from him, I didn't even have the money, so I went to him. We were discussing, and we arrived and agreed that I'm going to buy the product from him 3.4 million naira. As at then, that I'm going to buy the product 3.4 million. Where would I get 3.4 million? I don't even know. But I give him the promise that I'm bringing the money. And it was strong in my heart that I'm going to raise that money one way or the other. And 1 week to that date, I supposed to give him the money. I didn't have anything. But before you know it, someone called. Is there any problem? I said, no. It's just that I need money to do this product I want to buy. How are you sure this thing is going to sell? I say, I'm sure. Because I'm the one selling the other ones before. And I know that this product is going to sell. I know the customers. I know what they want. I've heard the music. Especially Mama and Ogenedo in that album. I said, there's a banker. He must sell. So that's how one way or the other God sent people, and I was able to. On the date I supposed to pay Frank Edwards, I paid him 3.4 million. How I paid that money, I didn't understand it, but it was just God and my faith. We started that time to promote it and begin to, by special grace of God. From there, everything just opened up. From there, he began to do other songs. Before you know it, my name started ringing bell. So, in the world today, people only celebrate those who have made it. Nobody knows about your struggle. They don't care about that. So actually, it wasn't easy, but before you know it, everybody began to call Nathan Ebasi. A pastor called me, Wala Denuga, by name, Pastor Wala Denuga, that is Fountain of Praise, in one Redeemed Church in Sulere. Then, he's a friend to Nathan Ebasi. So he called me. I went there. I heard the song. I loved it. I discussed with him. I negotiated with him initially, and I started. Even the first time I started selling the product of Nathan Ebasi, nobody was buying it. I was doing everything to make sure that this product sell. Nobody was buying it. But at the time, he would look at me and said, "It's like you even believe in this product more than me." I said, "I know that this must sell. I've heard the song in my spirit. I know that it's going to sell." So we talked sometimes because then he was just coming up. Every one of them were upcoming. Both Frank Edwards and him and everybody was all upcoming. And here is this man that have the faith. So immediately you enter Alaba International and say gospel. They say, go and meet Mr. Gospel. Go and meet Mr. Honest. Because people thought belief is not selling. So, and this man is the only one doing that business. But when God turned the captivity of Zion, I was like dreaming. Before you know it, all the products started selling, all the artists, everybody was now coming, Eben, Samsung, I don't know who. As long as Nigeria is concerned, everybody was like, there's something about this man. If you touch your music, it must sell. People have to pay artists money to just get my number. All the gospel musicians in Nigeria. They started coming. Eben came. When Eben came, before you know it, he brought Jadel. Everybody believed that. But one thing stand out for honesty. In my time of humble beginning, being a DJ, and even growing up, I have this ear for good music. I don't deal with any music that I don't buy. So I see myself as the first buyer of your music. So if I listen to your music and I don't buy it, if you understand what I mean by that, in my spirit, it didn't do anything to me, I didn't get it, the sound is not proper or anything is not proper, I will never work with that album or that product. No matter how much you want to give me. I had offers of people that had money, but I didn't believe that what they have was good enough for the public. I was very careful of protecting that name, honesty, even when I don't have money. But by God's grace, God started helping me. And before you know it, I told Frank Edward, I have to shoot a video for you. I got somebody, we come together, we shot the first video, Oya, for him. After we shot the video, Oya, we did the other video, Ogonedo. I have to source for the place. Before you know it, I have to do a concert for Frank Edwards in Port Harcourt. I spent money, borrowed money, because I believe this is my life. That I have no other life outside what I was doing. So whether there is loss in some of the albums, whether there is profit, that wasn't my motivation. Because to me, it's a ministry. And I thank God that God helped us to be able to do a lot and help a lot of upcoming musicians to become today's superstars. God helped us to be able to do that. And it's something I'm proud of. Whether they knew it, whether they don't. It's something I knew that God used me. And I know my story. I know what I'm going through. I've not said it this deep before, even in our interviews. But I think I have to say that. So God helped us so much. We have so many challenges. And music, you have to now face pirates. Your product is selling. Pirates are everywhere pirating the product all over the country. And the system we have in the country, Nigeria. The law and what is happening. So I tried as much as I can to be able to stop, but I cannot. It's a one-man thing. I tried to get some marketers to be involved. Most of them were not interested. So I was spending money trying to stop this, that this is not good, this is not right. But you see, it continued happening. And at a time also, I now found out that this CD business or promotion of CD business or promoting this artist, God began to bring to me that I need to have a studio. So I was like, studio. I was fine. At least that time, the business was not that too good, but at least I was fine. Why studio? And God began to give me this kind of international studio. I have never built studio before, and the type that is coming to the vision was so big. God reminded me what he showed me from the beginning. The vision was too big for me to even mention it to somebody. Because it would take hundreds of millions to be able to build the kind of studio that God laid in my heart. God laid it in my heart in a way that to get a place like maybe 1 or 2 acres of land, have a hotel, then build this studio that every weekend, so that people from all over the world can come to, can bring your family, can bring your church members for retreat, can come there, stay there, and enjoy yourself. In the weekend, gospel musicians will come perform. When I begin to think about it, I like, guy, you are crazy. You are mad. You are not right. Something is wrong with you. You don't. What do you have? How do you want to start to do this? So sometimes I'm discouraged. Sometimes I don't know what to do. But that's one thing about vision. It keeps ringing in my heart.
Yeah.
It keeps ringing in my heart. And by the special grace of God, God helped me. I was able to take a step. I didn't have the money anywhere, but I took a step. To buy cameras, to begin to buy things for studio. I have to call like Frank Edwards, talk with him, and some of the friends I have. I want to set up a studio. What does it take? I begin to browse about them. So I started getting some things that I needed for the setup of the studio. The studio was something else. It was something that it's like you wanted to invest in a product of what you have in your mind, like maybe 10 million.
Yeah.
And you have like maybe 1 million. And by faith, I ventured into it. And before you know it, from here and there, it was moving. By the time you get close, you now found out that for you to complete that project, you need 50 million. So where do you go to? How do you go about it? So when I talk about God, I don't know. I'm so confident that this God can pick somebody from nothing to something.
Yeah.
He proved it to me, because when I met Frank Edwards, he was staying in one small room. That's where his clothes is. That's where his studio is. That's where he sleeps. When I met Natalie Bassi, the first place I came to meet him was in Sulere, when he was staying with the sister. I don't actually know the particular person he was staying with. So I've seen God taking them from nothing to something, and I was involved in that one way or the other. So I believe that God can do miracles.
True.
But it was a strong experience. Doing the studio, wow. You buy this today, they ask you for this. You buy this today, they ask you for this. And when you talk about studio, you're not talking about one room studio, or somebody just starting and just go and get one small stuff. The way I saw it, I couldn't get to that place the way I saw it, but I started small to what I have today.
Mm-hmm.
But by the grace of God, when this studio was commissioned, all the artists, when they saw it, they cannot believe that God, that this man that we know can be able to achieve this. And the studio have come to stay. But how do we go about it? What do we do about it? Normally, it's for you to start a record label, do things the way everybody is doing it. But I've never been someone that actually do things the way everybody is doing it. I always want to know what God wants me to do and how God wants me to do my own, to be able to do it. It was coming to my spirit, actually, to form a group. But I was like, where do I start from? And by then, no money. So how do I do this? I don't even understand. I was struggling. But at a point in time, I tried to sign a couple of artists. It didn't work out at all. All it gave me was headache. So I have to go low to begin to, God, I know there's a next move. But how am I going to go about it? Little, by revelation, God began to reveal to me that I actually need to get a band, a group. How do I do that? I tried to call a couple of friends. about it. And with some of the experiences that I had, I was like, okay, let me just focus on my wife, because I know that she can sing, but not professionally. So I said, let me focus on my wife and my daughter. Maybe God want me to focus on them. So I tried to, but to bring her to professionally, when I call someone and the person introduced Sonny Sparks to me, that what you want to do, if you get this man, he will help you. He knows music and he knows what to do. So that was how I called him, and he came. I introduced my wife to him. I said, I want you to make my wife
Sing better.
a very good professional singer. So he said a couple of things, and both of them started, we negotiated and agreed. So that was what they were doing. Within me, I'm still not seeing this. I wanted to first of all watch him. I wanted to first of all see the kind of person that he is. And as the day gone by, I found out that this is the kind of person that I believe that I can actually do this group music with. He's honest, he's sincere, and humble. And his level of understanding of music. I have worked with a lot of people, of course, you know that. A lot of music directors. I've worked with a lot of producers. I've worked with a lot of who is who in Nigeria. I know them. But there's something special about him. Number one, he's someone that knows God and has the fear of God. He's someone, I know that he's passionate about what he was doing. He has his own story. Maybe he has to tell you that story on his own terms. But he was like, when I saw what he was doing and saw my wife trying to, music, like, let me give you an instance. Let's say we agreed that we are going to work for 2 days. He works for 4 days without asking me for anything extra. I saw the passion, I saw the love. I said, this is the kind of person I've been looking for. And from there, God began to bring it closer to me to start the project, Honesty Creed. So I discussed it with him. I told him about it. I said, this division, this is what I've carried for years. And seeing you is like God brought you here, not just to teach my wife. There's a bigger picture. That I have this love and passion to go into the street and pick people, because the honesty music give me the opportunity to be able to see the struggles of musicians. Not just to see it, I know the struggle of musicians. And I know there are people out there that are very, very good. But the church did not give them a platform. They did not have anybody that can help them to go to the studio or even sing on their own or do anything. And I said, I have that passion to go into the street, pick people from nothing, bring them in, train them musically, spiritually, and otherwise. Because music is beyond singing, especially when it has to do with gospel. It's not just about your talent. It's a ministry. So, but I believe that what God has given to me, that we can be able to go into the streets, pick people from nowhere, train them musically, spiritually, and otherwise, and prepare them as ministers of God, and can present them to the world. When I shared that vision with him, wow, he was so excited. He was willing to be part of it, even without anything involved. So he went home, prayed about it, and from there, one thing led to the other. Honesty Creed was established, was formed, and he came on board and expand some technical side of the music, what we can do. So I am coming from the streets. I'm coming as a DJ. I'm coming as a singer. My first album was released 2001 or 2002, if I'm not mistaken. So I had my own album. But when it was clear to me that God said I should sponsor and help others, I dropped my album. And I followed others to help them actualize their own dreams. I have to give up my own vision on music, being an artist. Because I know that I'm not very good at it. I know I can sing in church, I can sing, but not as professional musician. And it's not what God have called me to do. God have called me to bring out people and help them. So when I shared those things with him, he was excited. So he went home, prayed about it, and here we are today. Honesty Creed is there for you. And I'm excited to what has happened, where we are, and where we are going. But before then, Sonny Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. I think you've already given, what will I say? You've given a lot of details already, you know. So for the sake of not repeating a lot of the things already, I'll just basically say that, you know, like you've said earlier, for me, hearing about what the vision, hearing about your call to do this for me was, like I told you earlier, was something that when I heard it, for me, it more or less like reminded me of what I too had as a passion, had as a, let me not use the word call it, but I've always been dreaming about, you know, being able to work with a lot of young people, being able to work with people, like you said, people who probably don't really know their left from the right. They are talented, but, you know, they don't really know how they are going to go about, you know, bringing that raw talent, refining it, and, you know, taking it out there. Granted, I mean, everybody starts small. However, I believe that, like you've mentioned, a lot of some artists that you work with in over the time, a lot of those people had to go through some process with some people. Now, there are lots of people out there on the street who have this talent, but they don't have the people with the right procedures to help them move from this place to the place where the world can hear them. Because you see, really, when we say there's a superstar, it's not just the music that brought them down there. It's something that brought them down there and prepared them for some certain platforms. Because people only can hear you if you're on some particular platforms. There are people today that King Charles will never hear them because they are not on the right platform. They are probably not on CNN. They are probably not on BBC. That's King Charles also watches. So it's critical. So for me, I mean, when you brought it up, even though I never knew that, you know, that was even going to come up at all, you know, like you rightly said, I came here on a different, you know, arrangement entirely. But then when you brought it up, for me, it triggered something in me, because for me, it's been something, a vision. Maybe unlike you, I quite really didn't know how that was going to happen. It was more or less like an angel coming to Mary and saying, you are going to be pregnant. And me being the Mary saying, how is this going to happen? You know? So that's basically been where I've been for a very long time until we had that discussion, you know. And, you know, for me, that's why it was so easy for me to, you know, to get on board with this, you know. So, oh yeah, so for me, this is something that I'd really, I mean, of course, I didn't have any quite, but it's everything that you explained to me that day was exactly what, you know, God himself, or let me say, I've been inspired to do. I mean, I even have a book where I've written this vision down in, I think if I remember right, 2003, you know. And if I bring that book and open it here, you'll see that basically most of the things we talked about, or you mentioned in our meeting, was exactly what has been written in that book. Wow. So for me, it was an easy decision. It was an easy decision. This is something I'd always dreamt about, something I'd always wanted to be a part of, but I never really knew how to start or to go about it. So for me, collaborating with, you know, Honesty Missions was for me a step to the dream come true for me in this perspective. So that's basically the much. I mean, like I said, you've explained to a great deal our meeting and all of that. So that's how I came on board with Honesty Creed.
You're very welcome. There's something I think I missed that is important. how we do I say transcended from honesty music entertainment to honesty missions.
Okay.
You know, the missions is more of records, selling records or record label
That's the
or
music entertainment.
the music, honesty music entertainment. That is what was popular everywhere. But before honesty creed, the Lord make it clear to me, you are not into entertainment. This is a mission. So you need to make a change in that name. Instead of honesty music entertainment. That's how we come to Honesty Missions International. Honesty Missions is a platform that deals with everything that have to do with gospel. The same thing with honesty music. But no, honesty music is just more of music. But honesty missions, like God began to give me books. I started writing books. I've written 2 books. I'm about releasing the 3rd book now. God opened door for me for ministrations. I have a program called Voice of the Spirit, a radio program. So in doing this, I have to become a presenter. I have to become preaching on what's it called, on radio and on Facebook, and so it's a complete mission. That's what God said. Not that honesty music has been thrown away, but what happened is that, you know, music has gone out from just CD into digital platforms.
Yeah.
So honesty music is still intact on digital platforms, a marketing of music and gospel music for digital platforms. But honesty missions is to go into the street, pick up the people, train them, bring them up, and give them a voice.
Okay.
And that is what it's all about. And God helped us to be able to, today, we are talking about Honesty Creed. Thank you.
All right. Wow. That was so fantastic. I have learned 1 or 2 things from the whole experiences. And I believe viewers, you too also have learned 1 or 2 things. And one of the things that I learned is knowing your vision, you know, and if you really want to know your vision, you have to have a personal relationship with God, because without that, you can't really, you know, focus on the vision like he has been focusing, and, you know, knowing that vision that God has told him. I really want to say thank you so much for sharing your experiences
Thank you.
with us today.
Thank you.
Sir, I want you to tell us about the process leading to the selection of this group, Honesty Creed.
That was another challenge on its own. A very serious challenge, because these are the vision now, but we don't know the people we are going to select.
Yeah.
We started from, okay, it has to be like a band that will have instrumentalists, singers, and the music director, and everything together. So how do we go about it? A lot of, I've seen adverts, or people have told me, based on your brand and name, all you need to do is just to put up a flyer out there and let people buy form, register, and by that, you still make money you are going to use to actually run the vision. But like I said, I'm not that type of person that's moved by the way things are done. In fact, somebody brought a company or some people that just did something like that, and they went to meet churches and they sold the ticket, the forms to the people, the upcoming 50,000, and they bought it. So, and these are people that I've not even heard about them before. So that if somebody like Honesty is doing such a thing, that people will come, they will buy the form and whatsoever. But to me, is it about the money, or is it a mission? Remember, I said mission. God told me, and he told me it must be mission. I said, now, if I start doing this, that means I'm beginning to pursue the money. I said, no. Let's first of all work with the contacts that we have. So that's how he began to share the contact. I began to share the contact from here and there. And we were able to assemble, a lot of people to come together to do it. But the selection process was, maybe I have to allow Mr. Sparks to talk about that.
Oh, well, I mean, like you rightly said, you see, the challenge basically with the selection or selecting the right people was, I think when me and Mr. Tony spoke, I remembered very well that the first thing was basically to be able to find the right people. You have to really know what you're trying to do, and yes, it was a bit difficult because of the kind of vision of the group, how we wanted the group to be, like the sort of chemistry. We wanted to have a group that, one, they were young, so that eliminated some people already in our minds. You understand? We didn't want them to be beyond a certain age grade or age group, so that helped us in a way. We also wanted people who would be able to, catch on together, be able to, click together in no time, not just as musicians, but also as friends. You see, the one of the things that really we identify, basically, this is a gospel group. This is not a secular group. In the secular world, you can deal with yourselves on a business level, and just do your thing, and you get out of the door. Nobody owes anybody anything. But you see, a gospel, doing ministry, Jesus said that if you bring an offering to my house and you have an issue with a brother, so you find out that offering God something goes beyond just offering something. It has to do with the fact that the character of the person, your relationships, so we were careful about the fact that we wanted people that, we're going to be able to have a good relationship together, so, and that in itself presented a very big challenge, because you see, how do I know who is going to be able to work together? How do I don't, I only know basically what you are coming during the auditions to show me. I don't know how you behave at home. I don't know, what to expect from you in the next 6 months, when you are fully here now. There's nothing anybody can do to kick you out. You understand? During the auditions, everybody's at their best behaviors. You understand what I'm saying? So
you are meeting them for the first time.
So from the human perspective, from the selection perspective, if we were doing it as a human, it will be difficult. And that's where, the God factor came in. Because really, I was speaking with Mr. Tony not so recently, that when I look back, really, I really see how God has really helped us. Because even for the people that we thought were the right candidates, and we've even chosen them, we've even started doing some preliminary work with them. Somehow, God just brought situations, circumstances. Not like there was a quarrel, but it just made sure that, when the Bible says that he makes our lines fall in pleasant places, over time, things just began to work out one way or the other. And, we ended up with the right group. But, I need to point out that one, in the selection, of course, it was easy from the technical perspective, because we knew, of course, also the standard of singing or professional singing that we wanted to hear. Yes, it's a developmental, program, where, of course, they are not expected to be, at the best level we've heard, but they must have some certain criteria. There should be some level of singing that, can still work for us to be able to say, okay, let's add this to this, let's minus this, let's take this away. So we had to go through a lot of people, over the course of a couple of months to be able to arrive at where we are. Of course, I could give you several personal examples of how we chose some people, and then eventually they had to leave. I remembered very well a case of a young lady that, we were all convinced she was the right person, and technically speaking, she ticked all the boxes right. She had a very good vocal, she had a very good diction, she basically had everything we needed as a base for the people that we wanted to, to take. And like I said, the other one, where in terms of relationship, is what we didn't know and what God would have to help us with. Because, like I said, everybody's always in their best, best behaviors during auditions, during first-time meetings. So, but over time, we just at the point where we've agreed that, we're going to take this lady. Something happened, which was not even initiated by us. It was initiated by the same person that we were even, and to us, it was a clear indication. I remembered very well that I wasn't very happy, because in my opinion, I had invested a lot of time working with this lady, auditioning this lady, I think about a month or two, and I was so convinced that this was a lady. Everybody around felt that this is it, but God has a way of doing this thing. And the funny thing is that when we eventually, at the point where we decided that, look, this is not the character, this is not the composition of the person in terms of character that we would want in this group, because certainly God would not want this in the group. While I was busy asking myself, okay, so how are we going to go about it? We said, okay, let's just send out words, a few words to, and like we've heard, Mr. Tony didn't want it to be a public thing, because obviously we would have gotten a lot of people. Maybe that would have wasted our time. And looking back now, I felt that was the right decision.
Yeah.
Because whilst I thought that, okay, we'll be able to have a lot of, a bigger pool of people to pick from, it also helped that we didn't do that, because now, that would have probably meant that we would extend ourselves so much in trying to get, maybe spend a whole year auditioning 1,000 people.
Yeah, yeah.
And we probably wouldn't have made any progress, much. So, but then, just in that same period of deciding, okay, this lady was not the right thing, the right person, we sent out words, and the right person, the last person for the group, came about about the same week when we decided that, look, we're not doing this with this other lady again, even though it was painstaking, it was painful a bit, because I thought of all the problems I have to go through again, or the technical, here and there to begin to. So anyway, long story short, we got the last person. She came in, and like Mr. Tony said, I wasn't in the place then when he saw her. Immediately, he saw her. She just clicked, and we knew that immediately that we found the last person for the group. So I'm saying this to say that for us, it wasn't just a journey of finding the person based on technical skills. The difficult part really was finding the people that God wanted in this group, and God helped us by Himself to make sure to be able to bridge that gap, and that's where we are today.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. Please tell us about the project now. Like, where is the project now at the present?
Okay. Well, the project is at the. It's like a woman that is pregnant and she's in the 9th month, almost 9th month, because we started working, and it's been a fantastic journey. The singers has been wonderful. Sonny Sparks have been, I don't know, but God gave us songs. Let me put it that way. God gave us songs. And the way we are working is not just that you are the artist, you must bring the song. Like, we have people that just, even at the end part, just walked in to come and do one thing. From doing one thing to the other. And before you know it, they have songs too. And everybody was bringing songs. I remember one particular day I was on the shower, and I heard the Spirit of God say to me, a Calabar song, or a Akwa Ibom song, or Calabar song. I don't know, I don't speak the language, I don't understand why. But it was so serious in my spirit. And immediately I was done. I called Sonny Sparks and I told him, we have to get so kind of. He said, though I'm from Akwa Ibom, but I'm a Lagosian. Somehow. I said, I don't know how you go about it, but there's something that I have to do. Something has to happen. It was in my spirit, and I want us to. And believe you me, you need to hear this song by now. So it's not easy, but God helped us. The stage that the Creed is now is that the album is ready.
Yeah.
The album is ready with 12 fantastic songs. Trust me, I'm putting myself to, people that know me know that I don't deal with a song that is not, I can't. We have more than that, but this 12 was carefully chosen. And listening to the sound is something I'm proud of. So where we are now is that the album is ready.
Ready. Yeah. Wow.
And not just that, God gave us the inspiration and the financial capability to be able to shoot 2 world-class videos. The videos are ready.
Already, yeah.
So where we are now is to launch out, just to give birth to all this that we'll be saying. So we are ready. The album is ready. The videos are ready. The next thing now is for you out there to watch out, to follow Honesty Creed. Their page, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just Honesty Creed. And I want you to understand that God have helped us. And the songs that we are able to arrive at this short time,
Yeah.
was so beautiful. And I thank God for those that are behind the scene. You know, everybody is not in the forefront. You know, people will see the musicians. But if you are there to see, the spark work, you understand what I'm talking about. There are other people that just came in, like somebody, one of our youngest, you know, Mr. Frank. You know, he came in for something else, and before you know it, he contributed so much to the album project, and the engineer and the producer was in another level. Actually, he was there. In fact, he's the one that is here. So that what we're doing is just family thing.
Yeah.
I have to just tell you, Emi Kadri, I'm so proud of you. To me, you are like my family. You are like a son to me. You are like a gift to me. And your humility and your reasons and the way you do things, I just want to use this opportunity to say that I appreciate God and I thank God for you. And there are those also behind the camera, you know, like the person behind the camera is a musician, Salem Song. You can check him out. He's a musician.
All about music around
So you see, there are so many people around here. There are so many people around us here that, and each person is contributing immensely to that which God is doing.
Yes.
And as I said, we are ready. We are ready. And I thank God for that.
I would just like to add something to that because just to, you know, put it in proper perspective, you know, what I always like to tell Mr. Tony is that, you know, basically our major advantage here is how we've chosen to structure, you know, the whole team around Honesty Creed. You know, like he made mention, we had a choice to say, you know, strictly the singers bring the songs, you know, of course for so many different reasons, you know, rights and all of that. So, but then I think one of the most brilliant things we've done, you know, with setting up, or Tony has done with setting up the Creed, is the fact that, look, you know, we're going to build it. It's a team. It's a team beyond the face. You know, Honesty Creed is a large family of professionals working tirelessly every day for this, you know, for the 3 people that are representing that. They are majorly our face. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's why, you know, we've been able to achieve this level of excellence, this level of music in so short a time. I mean, I remembered very well that we started this project just about the last quarter of last year, which in itself, I mean, it's amazing because usually when you bring different people, it's a different thing if it's an artist who already have his own content, already have their own work,
their own songs.
So all you need to do is, okay, well, you've written these songs, you have a tune, okay, let's get a producer, we'll sit down, we put music for you and all of that. So it's straightforward. But that wasn't the case here. These were people that we brought from different places. They had no song of their own. So Mr. Tony had to build a team of think tanks to be able to, okay, we're going to have to deal with this area while you're teaching looking at the song. We had to, you know, when any member of the team have a song, there's a procedure where you sit down, okay, scrutinize the song. Will this work? Will this not work? So it really helped to I don't want to use the word simplified because it wasn't really simplified, but it really basically helped. You know, it's just like having square pegs in square holes and round pegs in round holes. You know, this one has a strength in probably writing the song. The other one has a strength in putting music to the song. The other one has a strength in, you know what, let's work on the coloring. Let's work on this is how we should mix. This is how you should put your voice. So it made the job fantastic. And, you know, it showed, you know, in clear term, it showed in a perfect term, the power of collaboration, the power of having a winning team work together. It made it seemingly look easy, you know. It made it seemingly look easy. So it was easy for the guys to quickly work. And I mean, you need to listen to the project. You need to listen to it. It doesn't sound like something that was just done in a couple of months. You know, it's amazing. And like Mr. Tony has said, I'll recommend strongly that every Christian all around the world should listen to the Honesty Creed debut album. It's going to bless you, for sure.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Before I ask the next question, I quickly want you to explain to us, is there any day that you guys experience some challenges in recording those songs?
Okay.
Is there any challenges?
I suppose on the technical side.
Yes.
Okay, let me put it this way. Challenges for sure are going to be there. Why? Like for the reason why I mean what I explained earlier. Those guys were working with materials that didn't originally come from them. And even if it came from you originally, there's a standard that Honesty Record must meet. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not going to dictate to, you're not going to bring us to your standard, to, you know, from where, because like we said, we pick those guys from different churches. You know, every church is not at the same level in terms of music, you know, professionalism. We know that already. So people, these three people were coming from three different backgrounds. You know, they had three different levels of musical dexterity. Of course, it was my job to sit down, listen to them, and see how they can balance, they can work as a group, which is part of the things we talked about in terms of selection. We had to look at, will these people's voice work together? You know, not just that you can sing, because I'm sorry, but let me quickly say this. I remember that in the team, we had a lady, in my opinion, that is best suited, you know, she should be doing something like neo soul music. Now, her diction was very clean and all of that, but over time, I realized that, look, she's a good singer, but she wasn't a good strength for the team. And for the vision, for the direction that we wanted, because that's one thing that really helped. Like I keep saying, there's one thing that really helped with this, but we were clear about the direction, not just the direction of in terms of people. We were clear about the kind of music we wanted to do.
That is it.
You know, you can't catch Honesty Creed doing metallic rock, because that's not, you know, that's not exactly what, you know, the vision is. So we were clear about the kind of music. And over time, we found out that, for example, the lady I talked about wasn't just going to work. You know, she was a wonderful singer, you know, but then wasn't the right fit because of the direction of where we're going. So coming back to the issue of the challenges, every day, of course, was challenging, because every day, you know, when you're working in the creatives department or the creatives industry, it's not just something like, you know, you are selling bread and you know the amount, how much you're going to sell that bread. You know, this is the production. The production is going, I mean, this is how they are going to do the bread. Every morning you go to the bakery and the bread is ready. It's not like that. In the creatives, it involves people sitting down thinking. You know, I remember so many days, you know, Mr. Tony will come to say, okay, let's do it this way. I remember there was a time we wanted to do the song he mentioned. We wanted to do it in a certain direction. But like, no way, that's not going to happen. So we had to start reimagining how we were going to do the song in this way that he's talking about. So it was challenging for me because of this reason. Also challenging, trying to get the guys to blend together. Every music director understands that one of the biggest challenges you'll have is getting, you know, putting fantastic singers in their own individual right and making them sound together. If you're working with a choir, making your choir sound like one is one of a great challenge, you know, for because you see, you have to find a way to ensure that everybody's voice, even though everybody's voice is different with different textures, everybody's voice, you're able to work with them to ensure that everybody's voice sounds complementary to each other, such that when you're listening to that group, you're hearing one great voice. Sound. You understand? So it was challenging also from the perspective of also getting the singers to be able to sing in a certain way, not just in terms of the harmonic blend, but sing in a certain way with a certain diction, do some certain things, you know, get them into the character so that the music sounds believable even without you seeing them. You know, there's a way a singer sings, even without looking at them, you could tell that, okay, do they really mean what they are saying? Do they believe in what they are saying? I mean, I'm coming here with a song we're talking about, Lord Most High, and then you're sounding casual. It will not work. So basically, all of those, I wouldn't want to call it challenge. I would just say it was been a wonderful experience. It's challenging in the sense that, people have to come. You also have to manage. I think Oga maybe may say that you have to manage people's punctuality, sense of timing, and all of that. But, it made it all interesting. It was, all a very interesting journey. So that's basically the much I could say, about this from my own perspective.
All right. Thank you so much. Talking about the album, sir, is there any fixed date for the release of the album? And what should we be expecting in the album?
Well, like you have talked about, one thing about music is that I believe that everybody have what goes for them in any particular album. But one thing I know about this album is that no matter who you are, no matter how, should I use the word, critics or the kind of person that you are like, because I know that myself, I'm very difficult.
Great music
I'm
critics.
very difficult to please with the choice of music. It's hardly that you give me a music I will not find fault. It's hardly that you give me a music I will not find fault inside. Some people were accusing me at a point in time, and were like, you are selecting a particular kind of artist. You are selecting people that are, they don't know that these people they're talking about, when I met them, they were not celebrities. They were not big artists. I just met them at their starting point. But I saw something with them. I saw the clarity of what they want to do. They know what they wanted, and the quality of the song that they wanted to bring. Some people think they can just go to any studio, do whatever, and they just give it to a big marketer and it will sell. I don't believe in that. I believe in something that's why I said I have to buy the music before selling it.
Before you sell it, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so I know that the album, but no matter how, it's a 12-track album. No matter how you see it, I believe that everybody must at least find 6 to 8 songs, at least 6 to 8 songs that you will love. I don't want to say all, but I know that if I say 6 to 8, when you listen to it, you tell me your own. But what I'm trying to let you understand that the album is ready and it's going to be released this month of May, 23rd of May, 2023.
Yes,
has been fixed for us to release the album. And the name of the album is Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Gratitude is the name of the album. Because to me, this is just the first one we are bringing. And it's like giving thanks to God for helping us to be able to put all this together. I'm just grateful to God. And when we sit together and listen to the album, the only word that is coming in my spirit is just gratitude. So I believe that this album will touch lives and heal the sick, physical and emotionally. I believe that in this song, you will find at every point in time or mood that you are into, you will find something that will suit you. And I believe that this album have a lot. I wouldn't just want to bring anything out, but I want you to look out for it. 23rd of May is a date. And not only that we are releasing the album that day, we are also releasing a video, official video, on that 23rd. Both the video and the album will come out
same date.
on same date. Watch out. Book that date, 23rd of May, 2023. It's just in few days' time. We'll be there. But I love what I had. I love what I have listened to. I love the video and what has happened. And for me, I can't wait to see your reactions. Because your reactions are if we say all things and we do all things and whatever we do and we bring it out and you don't appreciate it or it doesn't meet up, I'm open for you to criticize me.
You're putting yourself on the line.
Yes. So I want you to tell me, after watching the interview, You said this, you said this. This what you said didn't happen. This thing happened. Tell me. If you think I did well, I think I deserve some comments.
Exactly.
Some compliments. Okay? But if it's what I'm saying, that to you, you listen to the album, you didn't get 6 songs. I'm putting myself here. I say 6 songs. You listen to this album, you don't get 6 songs, please make it in the comment. Let me know. So maybe I have to go back to God to help me. But I know, and I know, that what God has given to us is fantastic.
Yeah.
The artists have been amazing, and everybody working behind the scene has been amazing.
Yeah.
And I give all glory to God. The album is here, 23rd of May, 2023. Watch out. Follow us on all the social media pages. Just Honesty Creed. And that is it.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why they still need to follow us is also because I think from next week, every day, you'll be getting updates.
Yeah.
You'll be getting teasers, you'll be getting some videos, some makings and all of that. So, I mean, it's really, the journey really starts. It's started already. So, it's best that you go straight to the social media handles. I think we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok as well. So, things are already happening. Familiarize yourself with Honesty Creed already from now. You don't need to wait till the 23rd. It's already live, it's already going on. Every day there's something for you to see. Building up to that day, you probably will see some interview, you see some the making of the video, some of those kind of things. You'll see them on the page. So that at least you have a little idea. It's more or less like you're working with us here in the studio. You have a little idea about the final, the pot. It's more or less like you're going to the kitchen and watching us cook, how we cook the soup. So I think you don't need to wait till the 23rd. Just go straight today as you finish watching this video. Like and follow Honesty Creed to get all the day-to-day contents that's going to be sent there up until the 23rd. It's going to really bless you. I guarantee you. God bless you.
All right. The album Gratitude, May 23rd, 2023. Watch out. But, sir, before I let you go, sir, my last question is, what is the plan? I mean, what is your plan for this group within the next 3 years?
Well, it's a tough one. Power belongs to God, actually. But we have to do what we believe we can do. Like as I said, starting with a complete album, not just singles, is a big project. Not that we have 2 videos ready. I have expectant, but as I said, power belongs to God. But on our own part, I'm saying that in the next 3 years, that this team, Honesty Creed, will develop to world-class ministers all over the world. I believe that in the next 3 years, we will be able to touch major part of the world with our songs, with our presence. And I know that in the next 3 years, none of us will remain the same. Both those that are at the back end and those that are in the front. So I believe God for great things, because I know that we have a great God. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We believe God to do greater things in our lives. All right. It's a pleasure once again having you in the studio today. All right. Here we come to the end of this segment. And watch out for the next segment where I will be introducing to you Honesty Creed themselves.